It's because we actually want to be able to learn out the obligation to offer up the diaphragm, the liver, and the kidneys of Har Halam Davar Nisibor, and turn out the Siri Avodas Kochaben Bigufin Lo Ksir. And turn out the Siri Avodas Kochaben, where it's not explicitly said, when we part point Mashiach, who did Gomer, and we're going to learn everything out from part point Mashiach. So it's interestingly enough, we're going to learn out from part point Mashiach, from part point Mashiach, where it's said explicitly, for up these sacrificial parts. Then I'm going to learn out ultimately again from there to Par Harlem Davin Natsibar, and from there to Sira Bonas Kohabim. You have to instigate Kasher Yuram. Therefore, I need the phrase Kasher Yuram to be Havik Kenan de Kasser Bigufay. So once I have that phrase, ultimately again, it's as if the obligation is written explicitly. The lower they have a Dabar Halamek Behakish, Koser Umalame Behakish. And if I will say, because that phrase is there, it's not like I'm taking something that itself is learned from it by comparison and ultimately using it as the source of the comparison for something else. Okay? I'm going to wrap up a little bit. I'm going to think of the buffet, but I'm not expecting to just write it there. You know, you have to show it. You said the buffet, because if I written in the actual pasuk itself, below Akish, and I didn't need a Hakish, I would have said, God bless you, Dabar Halami Hakish, Koser Umalami Hakish. That generally something that we have for a comparison can serve as the source for another comparison. If you came not to Shakush, right? And nothing now we go forward with that. Maybe exceedingly good thing. With the Akish Hakish, the Akish Kasvei, ultimately again it says, since we're going to do the not Shiakshay, literally because of the buffet, Tartar in the actual source itself. With the Akushay, Raki Kasvei, since it's going to be used as the source of the Hakish, therefore the Torah writes in that context, that should remain right, Dava Halami the Hakish, Ain Fojim Randa. Ultimately, something that is the source, ultimately the Hakish, cannot serve as the source for something else. So let's zoom out a little just a moment. So let's remember what we have, right? So what have we accomplished? What we've accomplished is, number one, it's certified by Ola, right? Ola, Shtuka B'Tzafan, Kabbalah B'Tzafan, not just for mitzvah, but Ma'akev. Next, Asham, Shtuka B'Tzafan, Kabbalah B'Tzafan, Ma'akev. Right? So now we use not Ola and Asham. Both require Shtuka and Kabbalah in the north, and ultimately not just required it for mitzvah, but it's not. If you don't have it, the covenant is fundamentally invalid. We also dabbled a little bit in Hashem Mitzvah, right? Hashem Mitzvah is one of these unique cases where on one hand it was part of the Pemik of Hashem, but then it was why was it removed? Why was it unique? What makes it unique? Is it unique? What applications on people, or on non-people, on the Torah? Yeah, the Torah do. The Torah that puts it right down, ultimately again, in the context of Asham, by comparing it to a Chatas and an Ola, right? Puts it back into the category of Asham. We said that Aroch as much as there are blood applications on a person, you also still require blood applications ultimately again on the Mizbeach as well. So it was taken out, then it was put back in. This then launched into a whole other discussion, because interestingly enough, the Torah placed the Asham Yisrael both to the Chatas to Asham. So we want to try to understand why. This then went ahead and opened the door to the following conversation. Dabar Halamek Behakish, Chozer Umalame Behakish. If something itself is learned out from it, so I'll give you an example. If B, right, to B, item B, right, topic B, is learned that halachos are derived from a comparison to A. The B then serve as the source to allow C to learn out halachos from B. Right? So that's another way of saying, Davar Halamek Behakish, something we're not makish, Chozer not Behakish. So now we see that's enough focus. That's enough focus. And that kind of is just blown open in this last discussion over here. So let's go back to Rabbi. A few more minutes. Let's just go to the Bible. You know what I said? Davar Halamek Behakish, in Chozer not Behakish. The Gemara now says, the truth is, in reality, Halacha is the definitive thing of those differences we see as well. Davar Halamek Behakish, something learned out by comparison to something else. So again, B is learned out by comparing it to A. So now then you can't learn out anything about C from B. But anyway, what's the logic in that? Because B itself was not a source item. B can't be a source item because whatever you know about B is derived from a different source item. So if B itself is not a source item, but C is going up to comparison with A, how could B be a source for C? So the Gemara makes a statement. Therefore, Torah line the Hekesh, and no point on Hekesh. Therefore, something going out to the comparison cannot be the source, but learn out something else. The Gemara says, what do we know? This one, Imi the Rabba, Imi the Rabina. Either we learn out from Rabba, and I've also actually points out in the front of the year, as Imi the Rabba, the Kashrei Bilam, before the Kashrei Bilam, Imi the Rabina, the Asher Mitzvah. Okay, so either from one of those two audios, which we learned, the Gemara says, Imi the Rabina, not along in the Hekesh, now to the Rami the Gzera Shava. Oh, interesting. Okay, so now, let's take it for granted that we're going to Paskin, Dafa Halom in the Hekesh, Eino Choser Umalamed Bahakish. Something going out for the comparison cannot serve as the source of the comparison. But what about, let's say I get a side, I learned that B from A to a Hekesh. Can B now could be engaged in Gzera Shava, which ultimately again C. Now let's remember again, how do you do Gzera Shava? Similar word or phrase in two contexts. So I understand that B can't serve as a Hekesh for C. It kind of serves as a Shava C. So Tashma, what we want to raise is very interesting. Tashma, but we must learn Ben Abtu Mosonus. This is very interesting. Now in the three come of the garden, Shri Torah, Harabosai, that is that Salas, it wraps on an entire bench, which means you have an entire article of clothing that is covered by Saras. I don't know that ultimately, again, the article of clothing is tar. Tar, how do I know this? So the Gemara says, Rashi points out there was something more than Rashi the Kiva, and Tarkat Salas Kefala Beggar. Literally, again, the Saras wrapped it on the entire body. How do I know that if you have complete Saras on a beggar, that the beggar is tar? Ne'emar Karakas V'Gabakas V'Begging. How he's Lashon Karakas and Gabakas, that Lashon by clothing. First one line, remember Karakas V'Gabakas Ba'adim. Second one line, the first one is. And it says Karakas and Gabakas by a person. Malahalon Karak B'Kulotar. So let's say just by a person. What happens if a person is totally covered in Saras? What happens? That's Halakha. They're tar. One of these unique peculiar houses by Saras. Right? You have a star of Saras, you can become covered. But you're covered head to toe by Saras, ultimately again you get tar. So just like it says Karakas and Gabakas by a person, right? And a person covered head to toe by Saras, ultimately is tar. Afkan, so too by a beggar. We also have the same Russian of Karakas and Gabakas. If the beggar is fully covered by Saras, tar. Is that about? And you must watch this about that. How do you know person if he's covered head to toe, ultimately again by Saras? And Allah nice again his tar. The Sid Miro show the Ad Laglov. As the Pasuk says ultimately from his head to his toe, right? The Pasuk is the Paruach Tifra Hazaras Bar the Kissata or Miro show the Ad Laglov. Torah says if he's covered when his head is feet, like his tar, this Gerard was like this Rosh Mulega, and we compare ultimately again the earth of the Mitzvah to the foot of the Mitzvah. Malahalon, Kulo, Hafaf, Lavan, Malahalon, Hafaf, Ma'alon, Kulo, Hafaf, Lavan, Para, the Kulo Tar, just like over there, right? If the whole thing turns white, the Saras Rectangle, ultimately is tar, Afkan is so to time also refers to the scalp. So to by the scalp, Kulo, Hafaf, Lavan, Para, Kulo, Tahar. So let's say, so what is that? What do you see over there? That's a Hekesh, and a Hekesh followed by a Gzera Shava. A Hekesh followed by a Gzera Shava. Rabbi Yochanan, V'chol Torah Kula, L'meidin Lamad Milamad. In general, Rabbi says, so first of all, I think to answer our question, even if you hold Davar Halamid B'Hekesh, Eino Choz U'Melamed B'Hekesh, there's something ultimately again learned out from the Hekesh, not serve as a source Hekesh for something else. Apparently, we hold that Davar Halamid B'Hekesh, Choz U'Melamed B'Gzera Shava. Right, so we're not going to get from a Hekesh, ultimately again, it will be the source of the Gzera Shava. Where do you just bring it out? From Saras. Incredible. So hold up. I think actually guys will. He says the photo of Quran, in general, both sides, it's not true. In general, in the Torah, you can always learn out something, even if it's learned out from another exegetical principle, which is one way of saying, just because B is learned out by a hekesh from A, doesn't mean B can't be the source of the hekesh for C. I've also, this is very important, right? Zone back in now, for those of you who are on vacation, right? So on my side, this is now like teenage, right? Because now this is now principle, right? This is now principle. You know what? In reality, just because something has been learned from a hekesh, it serves as a source. That's the general Torah Kula. See, even if B, I'm just going to use the ABC model. Just because B has been learned out by a hekesh from A, B could still serve as part of the hekesh for C. And just again, make a very shabbat between B and C. All of that works. All of that works. The only place, interestingly enough, where it won't work is Chutz Minat Kachi. Fascinating. The only place where this does not work, ultimately, again, is by Kabbalah, is by country. She'ain't gunning Lamach Milani. By country, I'm also by country, Halacha Lamaisa, by country is the only place where if something is learned out through, if something is a derivative, it cannot serve as the source for something else. So in country, in Kabbalah, sacrificial law, ultimately, again, if you're learning out B from A, so ultimately, again, then B cannot be the source for C. Neither through a hekesh, nor even through a Gzera Shava. It's not going to work. Why? He says, it's very simple, it's a little bit backwards, but he said, I'll tell you why. Yud King, Lo Yomat Safona Ba'asham, the piece of the Gzera Shava, the Kachekadosh, and the Kados. Because at the end of the day, the Torah will not need to say tzaf, and will not need to create a north requirement by Hashem. And I could have learned it out from the Gzera Shabbat, Kachekadosh, and Kados. So it's worth love Lameno, the Dava Halami Behakish, any close Milan the Gzera Shabbat. And everyone said, this funny Shabbat, you have to do like Kachim. Kachim, even, you have to say that even something out from the Hakish, not only can it serve as another Hakish for other items, but even can serve as a source for the Gzera Shabbat. The Dilma, you shouldn't be going to mikvah. Maybe it's different there because we also, at the end of the day, that is a Shava ultimately we have a problem. Why? Malachatos should be Mechavan Habichisus. No, because when you Gzera Shava wouldn't work right, because you can ask the Pircha, because at the end of the day, Chatos is Mechaper on Habichisus. Maybe that would seem like a cover, to which the Gemara says, no, Kachek Kadosh and Yisrael Ksivi. There's another pasuk. Because it's an open pasuk, ultimately again the Gzera Shava is free and clear. So what do you see from here? What's the bottom line for the food, you know? Interestingly enough, we went through this exhaustive exercise, loving the hekesh, hold on the hekesh. Right? To get one back from A to B that serve as a source for C. And I've also said that question is on two levels. To B was learned out from the hekesh, so to B as a hekesh for C, or serve as part of the Gzera Shava C. So originally we thought the answer is no, yes, my forecast. Bottom line, the Gemara says, the answer is yes. Yes, if B is learned out from A, right, through a hekesh, B can serve as a hekesh for C, or as a Gzera Shava for C. It's not a problem. There's only one area where we say that if something is a derivative law, it cannot serve as a source for something else, which is Kachim. And I'm also like, where does the Gemara bring that from? The simple amount of repetition that keeps happening again by Kachim. The fact that the Torah says something and reinforces it, says it again, anything starts that in the realm of sacrificial law, we say Dava Halami the Hekesh, something that not from the Hekesh cannot serve as the source of Hekesh for something else, and quite potentially can't even serve as part of the Gzera Shava for something else as well. But that's a good by Kachim, not a good by the Gzera. So yeah. What a daf, what a day. Beginning of a great week together. Shkaya, everyone. All right, Shadow Zage. Jay, you get running with his great, but I much prefer to this guy. Tomorrow. All right, Kevin, wonderful day, everyone. It's like good morning. Let's begin by thanking all of our sponsors for this morning's shake.